All right, let's go with homework 4-9. This last one, once you get the hang of this, it's not bad. It looks it's a little intimidating to start with, but the key is that you read carefully and understand what the different letters mean. Okay, so here we have you got a mall. 40% of moviegoers are female. Okay, that's represented right here. All right, that the probability of being a female is 40%. So guess what? What's the probability of not being a female? That's going to be 60%. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and fill that in right away. There are two movies playing. One's a romantic comedy. The other's a World War II film. Females. Oh, hear that helicopter? All right, it says 70% of the females attended the romantic comedy. The male moviegoers, the romantic comedy was also popular. 65% of the males attended the romantic comedy. And it says no moviegoer attended both movies, so there was no overlap. So what this is like here, right here, it says, a little noisy on my street out here. Here it says, given that they're a female, they attended a romantic comedy. That's the 70% they were talking about right there. Okay? So what this is saying is, given that they're female, they didn't attend a romantic comedy. So if 70% attended the romantic comedy, that means 30% did not. Of the females, they either had a romantic comedy or they didn't go to the romantic comedy. They went to the World War II movie. So if 70% did one, that left 30% to do the other. All right. Same thing down here. It says that given that they're a guy, not a female, they went to the romantic comedy. 65% of them did. That means 35% of them didn't. 35% of them went to the World War II movie. Okay, and then once you get that filled in, and that's pretty easy because if you look at it carefully, these things right here, what do they add up to? They add up to 1. These things right here, they're going to add up to 1. These things right here, they're going to add up to 1. Okay, and once I get these, this is saying is, what's the probability of being a female and going to the romantic comedy? Probability of being a female and not going to the romantic comedy. All right, and what I'm going to do to get these answers right here is just multiply. So to get this value right here, I'm going to say 0.4 times 0.7, and that's going to give me 0.28. To get this next one, I'm going to say 0.4 times 0.3. That's going to give me 0.12. To get this next one, I'm going to say 0.6 times 0.65 to give me, wait for it, 0.39. And this last one, I'm going to say 0.6 times 0.35 to get me this last one. 0.35 times 0.6, 0.21. Now, I know I've done this right if all of these add up to 1. Okay? 40, and they do. Okay? So that's kind of a way I can make sure this should always add up to 1 when you finish. Now, maybe the hardest part about this is going and answering this last question. So the last question in this case says, what is the probability that a randomly chosen moviegoer attended the war film? Okay? So the people that attended the war film? The people that attended the war film were the ones not going to the romantic comedy, right? So the people that didn't go to the romantic comedy were these guys right here, these were the guys that probability of being a guy and going to the war film, the probability of being female and going to the war film. All right, so I'm going to take those two probabilities, add them together, get 0.33, and that should be my answer here. All right, those will go quickly after you get the hang of it, I hope. All right, let's try the next. Okay, seems like we've done some of these before. These are independent events. So that means that if I were to multiply probability of A times the probability of B, it's going to give me the intersection of those two probabilities. So when I do that, I know in this middle right here, that's 0.387. And probability of A is 0.86. Probability of B is 0.45. Okay? And it says, what does it say here? If event A or event B occurs, what is the probability that A occurs? So if event A or B occurs, so here's event A or B occurring. So I'm just going to look in the green area right here. So the question is, how much is that green area? You know, how much probability have I just colored in? And that probability is A plus B, but I'm going to subtract out 387. Let me rewrite that. Subtract out 0.387 because I ended up counting that twice. When I counted A, I counted it, and when I counted B, I counted it. So I got to subtract it out. So 0.86 plus 0.45, subtract out the 0.387 for a total of 0.923. Okay, so all that area I had colored in green, all this area has an area of that, and that is the area of A or B occurring. And now the question is, what is the probability that A occurs? Given that I only look in that green, what is the probability of A occurring? All right, well, remember A, this whole circle right here is 0.86. So, 0.86 out of that total of 0.923 is going to give me my probability for this part of the question, 0.9317 is my answer to that one. All right, and then let's see if we can figure out this next one. Given that A does not occur, what is the probability that B occurs? All right, so I'm going to do some erasing here, maybe. Given that A does not occur, what is the probability that B occurs? All right, I'll tell you what, since I'm going to just get a new little sheet, is given that A does not occur, so I'm going to shade A not occurring for you. What is the probability that B occurs? Okay, here, redraw this thing, see if I can remember some numbers. There's A, there's B, this number in the middle, 0.387, A was 0.86, B was 0.45, I believe. Let's go back and look. Okay, and the question now here is A not occurring. A not occurring. All of this is A not occurring. Okay, so we got to figure out that's A not occurring. How much area is that? Well, A is 0.86. And what I just shaded was everything but A, so that's 1 minus 0.86, oops, which would be 0.14. All right, so everything I shaded, and it doesn't look this, definitely not to scale here, but everything I just shaded is 0.14%, is 14% of the picture here. And then the question now is that since I'm only going to look in the yellow, so given that I'm only looking in the yellow, what is the probability that B occurs? So here's B occurring in the yellow. What is this area right here? Okay, I need to figure out what is that little area. Well, that area is all of B, which was 0.45, minus this little widget right here, 0.387. 0.45 minus 0.387, 0.063. Okay, so that green, oops, 0.063 out of 0.14 would be my probability. I'll type that in my calculator, get 0.45. And boom. All right, have fun with those. Let me know if I can help you.